Right guys, welcome back to another video on the channel. In this video we're going to be looking at the iPhone 14 Pro Max. Now I've had this phone for about 2 weeks now, just upgrading from the 14 Pro. I'm going to go over the reasons why I did upgrade and should you pick up a 14 Pro or a Pro Max or wait till the 15s. Let's find out. Now before I dive into why I did upgrade to the Pro Max, let's just talk a little bit about the whole lineup between the Pro and the Pro Max. And I just want to start off with design quality. This phone, although it's not a particularly revolutionary design, it's kind of had the same design since the 12 Pros. It is a beautiful design nonetheless, and the majority of phones anyway have sort of stuck to the same design, and iPhones are no different. But that's not a bad thing by any means, as the iPhone 14 Pro is a beautiful phone with incredible build quality, and overall, it's just a very nice phone to have in the hand, and it feels very premium as well. Now, the performance side of things, the iPhone 14 Pro lineup has the brand new A16 Bionic chip from Apple. Now, if you've already got the 13 Pro or the 13 Pro Max, you don't need to upgrade. The A16 Bionic is very similar in performance to the A15, with a slight increase in GPU performance and a little bit of CPU performance. It's not a massive improvement, so don't feel like you're missing out on anything in terms of performance. Putting that to the side, performance is immaculate. I've never had a stutter on this phone, or at least not many out of the 9 months of time I've had it. Animations are smooth, scrolling through day-to-day apps is incredibly smooth, there's no complaints whatsoever. The A16 Bionic does help very much in terms of camera quality. Snapping photos is incredibly quick, there's very little shutter lag when taking photos, so it's a very smooth experience. Now we'll go a bit further into the camera quality of these phones, but just to let you know, the 14 Pro and the Pro Max do share the same camera system, so don't feel like you're going to be missing out on any camera quality if you go for the smaller device. You won't, it's exactly the same phone in terms of camera. Now, I'm not a big mobile gamer, I play games on Xbox or PS5, that's my preferred way of playing, but playing games on this phone is incredibly smooth. There's going to be no complaints here, you're going to be maxing out settings, especially as this is the most powerful mobile GPU and CPU on the market. You'll have absolutely no issues playing games whatsoever. Now, in terms of display quality, this is on paper one of the best displays on any smartphone. You are getting 2000 nits of peak brightness. Now, you don't actually get that full 2000 nits unless you are in direct sunlight and the screen needs to boost itself, because the phone does overheat if you do have such a high brightness. It's just not feasible for the phone to keep it at 2000 nits long term. It will just dim itself after a little while, but that's like most phones at high brightness. But nonetheless, the iPhone 14 Pro Max screen is beautiful. You are getting a variable refresh OLED display that does go from 1Hz all the way up to 120Hz. So that means that the iPhone can now have an always on display without draining too much battery, which I will go into now actually. The always on display started off very bad. Now, back when the phone was released, there was only one setting for the iPhone 14 Pro and it's always on display. You had to have the wallpaper on. Therefore, because of this, it constantly looked like the screen was just always on, literally. And because of that, I was always looking over my phone, distracted whether the phone was on or off. It was hard to tell. But a couple of weeks after, they did update it with a new firmware that allowed you to turn the wallpaper off. And ever since then, I've kept the always on display on because it keeps the time there, it keeps your notifications there, but there's no wallpaper, so you can tell the phone is off. And because of that, battery life has seen a massive improvement using the always on display. But yeah, no complaints there. Now, in terms of speaker quality as well, this is definitely the best speaker system I've heard on any smartphone. I haven't tested a phone that's better than that. The S23 Ultra seems very close. They're getting so good to the point now where it's hard to tell which one's better. But like any flagship phone, the display and the speaker system is just top of the line, and the iPhone 14 Pro Max is no different. Now, I did touch upon the camera system in my last 14 Pro video. I will touch over it a little bit again. I will briefly talk about video quality first. I'm not going to do a test on it, but just to put it in perspective, this video and all of my other videos have been filmed on the 14 Pro or the 14 Pro Max. So it just kind of shows you how good quality these are, and it does allow you to shoot in 4K 60 FPS. Now, right now I'm shooting in cinematic mode at 4K 30. Now, I don't see myself upgrading to a DSLR camera, for example, because unless you are going for a £3,000, £4,000 camera, you're not going to really see much of a difference. But yeah, overall video quality is top of the line. There's not really any phone that does it better than this. Now, photo quality is a little bit different. I've had a bit of a mixed experience with this phone. It feels like a lot of the time if the phone is trying to over process things, But yeah, I've had quite a bad experience with the main lens on the 14 Pro. It's not bad by any means, I'm a bit underwhelmed with the quality on it. Now, the telephoto lens has really blown me away. My favourite lens on this camera is the ultra wide macro lens. The level of detail you can get out of the macro lens on this phone is next level. But yeah, the main 48 megapixel lens is a bit underwhelming. You have to have really good light, but I don't know. Maybe I'm not very good at taking photos. But yeah, I think the main lens is nothing that will blow you away, but I feel like the telephoto lens has significantly improved this year, and the macro lens is just next level. I'm so impressed with the macro quality on this camera. No complaints there with the macro lens. Now, let's talk about battery life. This is kind of the reason I upgraded to the 14 Pro Max. Now, the battery life on the 14 Pro, it wasn't bad by any means. It was getting me through a full day of work. The only problem is that it started like that, but as we got like 6-7 months into using the phone, my battery percentage had gone down to about 97% in the space of 1 month. It's not good, and because of that, I was struggling to get to 8 PM in the day without needing to plug the phone in. Now, I did upgrade to the 14 Pro Max. Since then, I've never even thought about charging the phone. I could get up at 7 in the morning, I could go to work, use my phone all day, maybe getting like 7-8 hours of screen on time. And by the end of the day, about 11 o'clock at night, I would still have 30% of battery life, and that is next level good. No complaints there. The 14 Pro Max is a significant increase in battery life and has been really impressive, really. But yeah, I think if you are coming from an iPhone 12 or below, the iPhone 14 Pro is a huge increase in battery life compared to those phones. And especially if you've been using those phones for a little while and your battery health has deteriorated, the 14 Pro is by no means a bad battery. It's just, I was running out by the end of the day, which is standard. But yeah, that's why I upgraded to the 14 Pro Max. Majority of people will be absolutely fine on the 14 Pro. Now, I want to touch upon the storage of this phone as well. Now, a lot of people opt for the 256GB version and realise they really don't need it. Now, to put this in perspective, I pay £2.49 a month for the 200GB of iCloud storage. I have the 128GB iPhone 14 Pro Max. Now, I film every single video at 4K 30fps. And each video is about 20 minutes long. I've got about 5,000 photos and I've got 800 videos, something like that. Because iCloud storage is so efficient and it will back up your photos you haven't used in a while, 128GB is absolutely fine. I just recommend pairing it with £2.49 a month of the 200GB of iCloud storage. Unless you really need it, don't upgrade to the 256. You will not run out of storage. This phone I'm using, I've used about 70GB of storage out of the 128 gigabytes. It's really good, and I don't see myself running out of storage anytime soon. So yeah, unless you absolutely need the storage and you keep everything locally on your phone, stick to the 128GB, save yourself a bit of money, you'll be absolutely fine. I just want to give a quick mention to Xtreme Skins. This video is not sponsored, but they did send out a few of their skins for me to test out and review. I've got to say they are really nice. They do offer a range of skins from pretty much every Apple device, tons of Android phones, and gaming consoles. If you do want to check them out, I will leave a link down below. It's just a standard link, it's not affiliated, but yeah, check them out if you're interested, and thanks again. Let's get back on with the video. But yeah, to end things off, the iPhone 14 Pro Max, it's coming to the end of its cycle. I've been using the iPhone 14 Pro lineup for 9 months now. It is the best phone I've ever had, so it should be at the price. But yeah, overall it's an incredible phone. I think wait for the 15s, especially because you're getting USB-C charging, we're going to get much thinner bezels. I think wait now for the 15s, but if you are going to go for one, it's an incredible phone. That's as simple as I can put it. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and subscribe. Do me a favour, let me know down in the comments below what phone you've got and whether you want to buy a 14 Pro or you already have one. But yeah, if you enjoyed the video, leave a like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.